Hello guys, and welcome back to another video of mine where I will be going to give my reviews, my scores, my opinion on the dances of the Gangnam Dance in 2020. What a marvelous night it was. The standard this year is so high. Wow. And let's begin without further ado with the first couple, Jamie and Karen and the Cha-Cha-Cha. As a massive Eurovision fan, I was beyond happy to hear a Eurovision tune on the show. And now, let's move to Jamie's Cha-Cha-Cha. It was full of positivity, full of vibes, but his technique was poor. He danced all of his steps with bent knees, and he didn't straight his legs at all, and thus he wasn't able to create hip action, and he wasn't able to accent the beat, the proper beat in the music. And unfortunately, there wasn't even one step that he did correctly. His partnership with Karen is wonderful, and his happiness is really resonating, but he really needs to work on the technical aspect of the dance, and I will score the Cha-Cha-Cha a 4. And let's continue with Caroline and Jonathan, the American Smooth. So, she has quite surprised me. It was truly such a lovely dance. I was truly touched and even amazed by her abilities. She was resonating with stanza and joy. Her frame was absolutely wonderful. Her head position was excellent, and the whole thing was so light and bright. The lifts and the transition between the steps were fantastically smooth. However, on the negative side, there was a little gapping while she was in hold, and there was no sway. She needed to push her toes even more into the floor while moving backwards, and she missed one or two heel leads while stepping forward. Having said that, her acting, her feel for the music, her top line and her frame, her lightness on her feet, and her partnership with Johannes, all of that has created a really sweet American Smooth, so I will score it a 6. And let's continue with George and Diane and the tango. So he came on the dance floor with all guns blazing. I really loved his commitment and his partnership with Diane. For me, he has the potential to go all the way, because his dedication is really visible. I was quite surprised by his footwork because it was pretty clean, although it was stumpy and not sharp enough in places. I want him to focus on his posture as well as on his frame. He had tendency to drop his elbows. I also didn't like the fact that they broke hold during the dance. As a whole, it was pretty impressive. His musicality and his characterization of the dance was spot on, but he needs to polish some details, and I will score this tango a 5. And let's continue with Clara and Aliage and the Cha-Cha-Cha. Clara was oozing musicality and personality. She has created some great lines, especially with her arms, but her leg action was pretty weak. She didn't straight her legs most of the time, and by this I mean the fact that she danced most of the dance with both of her knees bent, and because of that she wasn't able to produce any hip action, which is so important in this dance, in the Cha-Cha-Cha. And she also wasn't able to accent the music with her movements. The only steps that she did pretty well were the Cuban braid and the New York. She has tons of potential, in my opinion. She has loads, really loads of attitude and charisma, but all of that is not enough to go all the way, because she needs to work really hard on the technical fundamentals of the dance, and she has a wonderful partnership with Aliash, and I really hope he will be able to push her even harder. And for now, I will score this dance a 5. And let's continue with Jackie and Anton the Foxtrot. Poor Jackie, because she was definitely the weakest link of week 1. Unfortunately, she seemed uncomfortable most of the time, and the nerves got the best of her. Her frame was surprisingly good, but apart from that, her dancing was lacking all the elements that should be in a foxtrot: gliding across the floor, heel leads, beautiful top line, sway, and so on. For next week, I really want her to focus much more on the footwork, as well as on embracing the character of the dance, because both things were almost non-existent in this foxtrot, sadly. So I will score this foxtrot just a 3. Sadly, I hope she will be much better next week. I mean this Saturday, next time. And let's move on to JJ and Amy and the Balls. First of all, I must say that I absolutely adore their partnership. Both JJ and Amy resonate class, pure elegance, and loads of gentleness. He is an inspirational man, truly an inspirational lad, with an incredible big heart. However, as much as this was touching and elegantly sophisticated, it was full of errors. I want him to work on his posture. I want him to learn how to glide more across the dance floor, and how to create rise and fall and sway in ballroom. In addition, there was gapping and they broke hold during the dance, which is illegal. So as much as I enjoyed his partnership with Amy, and despite his good musicality and his good frame, the dance wasn't technically strong, and I will score this waltz a 5. And let's continue with Maisie and Gorka and the Samba. And I have to ask, is this week 1? Like, seriously, I was absolutely blown away. The level of her dancing was astonishing. What can I say? Gorgeous outfits? Check. Fantastic musicality? Check. A perfect sense of rhythm? Check. Magnificent hip action? And some lovely shimmies? Check. I could hardly notice any errors in her footwork. What a lovely choreography it was, packed with tons of traditional samba content. Her batucadas, her promenade runs, her whisks, and her stationary samba walk were all pretty flawless. It was very close to a 10 for me. There were just 2 noticeable errors. Her footwork in the quarter jacka was incorrect. I am sorry that I'm using a lot of ballroom dancing terms, but I hope that I'm still understandable. So her footwork in the quarter jacka was incorrect, and she didn't have any hip action in her walters. Having said that, her musicality, the lines that she has created, the level of her technique, it's hard to believe, it's really hard to believe that this is only week 1, like OMG. And I will score this samba an 8. And let's continue with Jason and Luba and the American Smooth. So I couldn't stop smiling while watching this number because Jason has resonating. Because Jason was resonating lots and lots of positivity. His musicality was very, very good. His partnership with Luba was wonderful, but his American Smooth wasn't that great. He needs to improve his frame. He needs to learn to glide across the dance floor and create sway while doing ballroom. In addition, he missed a heel lead at the right beginning of the section in the hold. And I also wanted to see more pure Foxtrot content, meaning more beats in a close position. He has a lot of potential, and I hope his dance next time, I mean this Saturday, will be technically stronger and will have much more content. And for now, my score is a 5. And let's continue with Ranveer and Giovanni and the Paso Doble. Ranveer was full of attitude and full of purpose. Her musicality was spot on, and her flamenco arms were absolutely stunning. What a high quality for week 1. Giovanni knows how to make wonders with his partners. Ranveer has all the potential to go all the way. She was really into this dance. She acted it very, very well. Her partnership with Giovanni was truly amazing. Although her shaping was very good, I wanted to see even more shaping, and it also was completely missing the tilted hip action, which is essential in this dance. So all in all, it was a very good routine, pretty strong technically, and it was truly fantastic in terms of musicality, partnership, expressions, and arm movements. And my score for this Paso Doble, for the first Paso Doble of the series, is 7. And let's continue with Nicola and Katya and the Quick Step. First same-sex couple on the show. I can tell that actually the first same-sex couple ever on any version of Strictly worldwide was in my country 10 years ago. And I also can tell that these partnerships is way, way better and stronger. Maybe some people expected the word to collapse. Well, nothing happened. What I loved the most about Nicola was her determination and her musicality. She was really into the music and she didn't miss a beat. However, her posture and her frame could have been better. She didn't glide across the dance floor. She had 1 or 2 stumbles, and I wasn't keen on the fact that they broke hold several times during this dance. Although her partnership with Katya was truly brilliant, although the choreography was pleasantly pretty traditional, and her musicality was really good, it needed more drive and more polished technique. So my score for this quick step is 5. And let's continue with Biren Oti and the Cha-Cha-Cha. It was the most entertaining routine of the night without any doubt. What Bill was lacking in his technique, he definitely gave in his performance. It had plenty of good spirit, it had plenty of good humor, it had loads of energy and musicality. Even though his footwork was almost non-existent. His arms were funny. It had zero hip action. Almost all his steps were dance with bent knees all the time, which is totally incorrect. And it was all heavy-footed, but nothing could take the high-level performance, his sheer joy, and his feel for the music, his characterization of the dance, and his entertainment. It was very interesting to see what he will bring to the dance floor next time. And for now, my score is 4. And let's continue to the last couple of the evening. Harvey and Jeanette and the Jive. It gave me chills. Wow, what a jive! Harvey's musicality was perfect. His performance was electrifying. His ability to move, his feel for the music, his connection with Jeanette, the way he was feeling the dance, all of that was to die for. Flawless synchronicity with Jeanette, loads of proper jive content. It was definitely a number of a very, very high quality. It wasn't flawless though, because he should have pointed his toes even more during the kicks, and there was no hip rotation while doing the jive chassis. But what can I say apart from that? He handled a very difficult routine amazingly well. His ability to move and the quality of his movement, as I have already said, is absolutely sensational, and it was not far from perfection, and it definitely was astonishing and spectacular, and I will score this jive an 8. So I hope you all enjoyed my review. Don't forget to subscribe, and see you soon. Goodbye for now.